Hi, this is Scott from Heretical Sraffa. Got back from Scotland from the INET conference, Institute for New Economic Thinking conference that was over in Scotland. There are, for those who don't know, there were two events that were associated with the conference in Scotland. The first was the Festival for New Economic Thinking. This is the program that which I was affiliated with. I was part of the Young Scholars Initiative. No, I'm not a young scholar. I spoke about this in a previous email. And then after that, we had the conference proper, the Reawakening conference proper. Generally speaking, I think that it was a great conference. I think that there's certainly some criticism can be had, and criticism's okay as long as it's constructive criticism, right? Um, what becomes problematic is this destructive criticism, is hating basically, and I have to admit I've seen some blogs online that have talked about the converts and critical, but not really constructively critical, but more destructively critical ways. And anyway, I want to for those who can read the same blogs and no doubt have more exposure to some different perspectives than I do, which is fine. I just want to report that I thought it was a constructive conference, and I think that the issues that were discussed were good. There were some issues, I'm sure, that one can look at. I think that one of the problems that was being criticized was the lack of diversity. You had basically white men that were doing it. The majority of the conference participants, and that's correct. I think that's a legitimate point. But I think that to give a little bit of nuance to the situation, I do think there was a variety of different perspectives there. As a more radical element of the heterodoxy, I felt that my views were in some way represented there. Certainly on the panel that spoke of the dual economy, and a particular scholar whose work I'm just now getting to know, named Guy Standing, who did a wonderful presentation discussing some of his recent work, especially given the notion of what he referred to as the precariat. And I haven't read his work, and so and those who have can know far more than I do. But from listening to the discussion, the precariat sounds to me like those people, those of us who are in relatively precarious situations, living paycheck to paycheck, even if we're living relatively well, right? It just means if something were to happen and we would lose our ability to actually sell our labor power, right, to work, then we would be in precarious situations, to be sure. And then from what I understand, there's different gradients of the precariat, and from those that are more well off and in terms of income, all the way down to those that are the lower tier. One would say the quote unquote lower tier of the spectrum. I think that what it sounds to me very similar to the way in which we would organize working people in Chinatown. And in the 1990s, I organized with Chinese Staff and Workers Association, as well as National Mobilization Against Sweatshops, CSWA and NMAS respectively. And one of the things that we were developing when we're initiating, especially NMAS, the National Mobilization Against Sweatshops, was that the sweatshop economy is not a marginal part of the capitalist economy, that the sweatshop economy is the way in which we all live, right? Those of us that are in, I would say now, in the precariat, in the sense that we have little control of our time, little control of our lives, that we might be earning a relatively good income, but if something were to happen where we couldn't earn that income anymore, if we got sick or some other things happen, we would quickly find out how precarious the situation was. I think that one of the things that we certainly developed in Chinatown that's going on right now, a lot of good work is going on in Chinatown with CSWA and NMAS, is decrying the lack of control of our time and our lives. I think that that's, to me, the resonant idea that I saw from Guy Standing's presentation, which again was excellent. And I walked away at the conference learning stuff. So I think that to the critics out there, again, constructively critical is good, but it's easy to criticize. It's a lot more difficult to actually try to create something constructive. And so I hope that people can understand that criticism has to be constructive, and it has to be directed towards a purposeful ends. So on that, I thought that the conference was great. Other thing what's happening is we're back now, and we're going to start organizing sessions. I'm going to the Southerns in a month. I'm going to be video blogging more about that. The Southerns are coming up, the Southern Economics Association, that's URPE at the SEA. We got 8 sessions there. We got 21 participants. I'll put the program under this dialogue box for people. If you're in Tampa, Florida, or in anywhere in Florida, come on down. We got Rollins College represented. We got a couple of panel sessions from there. We're looking forward to that. Tampa, Florida is my old stomping grounds. I grew up in Polk County, Florida, which is a county over, kind of the rural part of the state, right? But I went to undergraduate school in Tampa, and so I know Tampa is kind of a homecoming. Great place to go. I encourage you to come and to check out the program and to develop and help develop and outreach on heterodox and radical economics. And then the last thing I'm going to end you with, because I'm going to keep this video blog short. I'm going to be doing a little bit more of these video blogs, but a little bit less in terms of time, is that we're going to start developing sessions that are going to celebrate the publication of the Routledge Handbook of Heterodox Economics. This is a Routledge book. It just came out, the Handbook of Heterodox Economics, edited by Tai-Hee Cho, Lynn Chester, and Carlo DiPoliti. It's excellent. 2018 is actually the publishing date. You can see the cover. I love the cover graphic of masses of people turning left. I got an entry in here on heterodox theories of distribution, but there's at least 48. I didn't count. I know there's 48 people on the email. Entries in here. It's a wonderful volume. Gives a multiplicity of different perspectives about what is the heterodoxy. We look at different topics, different ideas, in different perspectives. Speaking from my entry on income distribution, I look at the question of income distribution in terms of different theoretical perspectives, classical Marxian, Cambridge, and the Neo-Kaleckian, and all these things I think, and then try to bring together the concept. And that general notion is resonant throughout the entire volume. The editors did an excellent job. So what we want to do is we're going to start organizing sessions on this. I hope to be able to have the first session organized at the ICAPE conference, which is coming up in January. ICAPE stands for International Confederation for pluralism in economics. I say that 3 times, which is a wonderful opportunity for the different heterodox associations to come together the day before the ASSA. We have our own conference. This is going to be the 2nd year we're doing it. Last year, ICAPE, of course, has been around, but it's a newly reconstituted ICAPE. Thanks to Jeff Schneider from Bucknell, wonderful colleague, organizing, etc. A wonderful vision about how we can take the heterodoxy out more. And he has led the effort to reconstitute ICAPE. And so the first year was in Chicago, and we met at Roosevelt University, had a great time, excellent conference. And we're doing the same gig again this year in Philly at Drexel. So we're going to be organizing sessions on the book, okay? And so I'm going to try to get Routledge to come in and get a big graphic there. We want to try to spread the heterodox gospel, if you will, to not only to the converted, but also to those mainstream economists, trained economists that may want to search for other answers. I think that one of the things that we have to do is quit, get out of the echo chamber, right? We want to, talk about our theories to a broader audience, not to a smaller audience. We don't want to speak to the so-called converted. And number one. Number two, I humbly submit that we all need to critically reflect ourselves. I mean, who are we to think that we're so knowledgeable? I mean, we are, but also, we need to have that constant reflection back, and that's what happens when you broaden as opposed to make more insular the people around you and the minds around you. So those are just some of the things that are happening. Again, it's great to be back in the States. Things are nuts here. You can see I got my stuff. By the way, if you're looking at that American flag behind me, it's not a diss to the American flag to have it upside down. In this country, if it's upside down, that means that we're in distress. I do think that we're in a state of serious distress in this country. I'm not alone. Jeff Flake from Arizona, Republican senator, and Bob Corker, Republican senator from Tennessee, they both admit that we're in distress too. So don't put that on me. This is a general sentiment. I'm just articulating it here, okay? All right, we'll see you guys online. I'm going to do more videos, especially of the archive and some of the lectures on production of commodities coming up soon. I hope to see you at this new round of this next round of conferencing coming up. We got the Southerns, we got the ICADE/ASSA. We're going to be doing the Easterns, and then we're going to be doing the Westerns. So hopefully we'll begin to see some people, and then we can continue this organizing and take things forward. Okay, see you online. Peace. Ciao.